Order up! Welcome to a brand new episode of the Order Up Podcast. Of course, I'm Terran Williams. Thank you so much for checking out this brand new episode. It's also the first episode in 2021, which I'm pretty excited about. So let's get to this episode. So on this episode, I'm going to be talking about Batman: Soul of a Dragon. So of course, spoiler alert, or Soul of the Dragon, not Soul of the Dragon, but Batman: Soul of the Dragon. Spoiler alert, it actually just recently came out. It's actually the first animated movie in 2021 from DC, of course, for animations or WB Animation, I think it's the name of the actual studio. But it's the first, animated movie with DC Comics. Why not the year? But right off the bat, it's not really a Batman movie. Just kind of, just 'cause it's not really a Batman movie. That's probably one of the negative things about the movie, where they only use Gotham really as a backdrop. Batman is just kind of it's not really his story, So just kind of getting that right out the way. If you do watch the movie, it's not. We won't get all of like the Batman hijinks and some of the Batman tropes and things like that. You get some of them, but it's really more high. He's more of a support character than actual main protagonist, which is very interesting. So, because who I think the story is really focused around Richard Dragon. Richard Dragon is really the main protagonist, sort of in the story. But I like how they kind of do the movie, because the movie's set in the 1970s, but it's very much a 70s action movie. Like, if you want an action animated movie, this is it. There's action from the very start of the movie all the way to the end of the movie. Like, it's a very action focused movie, which I think it really supports. It was really helps the movie out. So if it was kind of called, just if DC presents, Soul of the Dragon, I think it would have been much better. Soul of the Dragon maybe featuring Bruce Wayne or something like that. I think it would have been a much better title. But when you see Batman, you think, oh, you're gonna get some Batman action or Batman characters or Batman this, and this movie doesn't deliver on the Batman part of the title. But in terms of an action movie, it's a very, very good animated action movie. So like I said, the 1970s, we have all the 1970s vibe, the music, the slang. Like, it has a very 1970s vibe to it, which I love. Which they did a really good job, of capturing that. It's very fast paced. Story isn't super complex. It makes sense, and you probably can figure out what's gonna happen in the story as you watch it. But it's still a pretty good story. So the story focuses on Richard Dragon, Bruce Wayne, Ben Turner, aka Bronze Tiger, and then Shiva, who of course is Lady Shiva in the Batman universe. And so it kind of focuses on those four, where Batman goes to like this ancient temple looking for guidance, stuff like that. He finds it, and where he meets like some of his other characters, and the story kind of develops from there. So you get to meet all of them, kind of, previously, like with kind of flashbacks. You flash back to the past, and then you kind of go forward. So there's a lot of that. So that's really most of the story elements come from flashbacks to the past, where you kind of learn like from when they were trained on the monastery, and I think it's a monastery. I want to say monastery or like dojo or whatever secret place they were at. I forget what it was called. And so Batman, Bruce Wayne gets there, and of course he's dealing with like the death of his parents and things like that. And so he meets, some of the other students who've been there. Of course, he's the new guy, and kind of has to, get to know him and stuff like that. Over time, like finds out like, oh, they're better than him at that time. And but it's just I just like kind of how the movie tells that story, where where Batman isn't like the overpowered character. He's very much he's kind of a guy. He's kind of like he's like a side character in this, which is very interesting. 'Cause you very rarely see Batman as a side character. So, but I feel like if you're a diehard Batman fan, it's like, what, this should be Batman? Oh my god, blah. But it's kind of nice to see him, excuse me, like do his thing, but not like take over the movie. He's just there. He fills in little things like kind of you see Richard Dragon is like a super spy. He finds out that this organization's going after, it's called the Gate, which is something that they knew about in their training. So he tries to go, and he slowly recruits some of the other students who he goes gets Bruce first. Bruce is of course in Gotham. He's the owner of this club, and he's also a Batman. And it's just kind of it's kind of interesting. And so he tries Richard, hey, I need your help. And then they're upstairs. Something happens downstairs at the club. Richard and Bruce go down. This gang is like attacking them, trying to get something from them. I forget like what happened. I forget why they attacked them. Whatever. So Bruce runs off, and Richard's like, okay, I'm not sure where Bruce went, but whatever. The lights turn black. There's smoke bombs, and of course he becomes the Batman. He just takes them all out. And Richard's like, "What the hell are you doing? Like, why are you wearing this mask? Like, what's like, he doesn't know what the Batman is." It's very funny because that happens. Then they eventually realize they have to get Shiva, who she's actually like a queen pin. Like, she actually runs a lot of the organized crime in Gotham's Chinatown. They go see her. She's in like this, basically it's like a blood sport, like it's just a fight pit. Whatever. She's overseeing that. She's fighting. They go see her. Then the same group that attacked them at the club attacks them there, and so they're all fighting. Shiva, Richard, and Bruce are fighting, and they're doing their thing. And Richard's like, "Hey, you might want to put on that mask and your cape." And Shiva's like, "What is he talking like mask and cape?" And Bruce's like, "Can we focus?" And then Shiva takes a second. She's like, "Oh wait, Bruce, you're Batman." And it's really funny just how they. But usually that's like a very like that doesn't happen in movies. Like people don't really recognize Bruce as Batman that quickly, or they don't really because again Batman because again since it's kind of set in Gotham, but not really. If that was any other Batman movie, nobody would figure that out. If they figured that out, it would be like towards the very end of the movie. But that just tells you that this movie doesn't really focus on Batman, where it's not about Batman. He's just kind of there. He's just kind of the characters, a little bit the environment and stuff like that as a way for them to market it. But Batman isn't really a key piece of the story. It's more about Richard. And then and then you learn that actually Lady Shiva, she was given this what's it called, the Soul Seeker, the Soul Bringer, the Soul Taker, something like that. Something like that. Whatever the name of the sword is, she's like the guardian of the sword. So that cult or group is actually going to they steal the sword from her. They fight. They fight a few times. They start chasing them. Eventually, the group gets away. So they have to get one more person for their team. They gotta get Ben Turner, aka Bronze Tiger. They go find his dojo in Gotham. They talk to him. He's like, "Shit, I'm down." You get his backstory a little bit. And he tells you that he might have been the person who kind of, stirred all this up. Where he was like cleaning up. He was going. I forget. He was going after something. He explained like he was on like some missions and stuff like that. But he ended up figuring out about the Cobra Cult. That's the name of the organization. So he decides to like go after the cult, like these little like hubs across the world. They had like little pockets of them across the world. So he decides to go after them by himself. And then he caused so much trouble that he starts terrorizing them that they gave him the nickname. They're called the Tiger. So he joins the group. They go through. They figure out where they are. They get a map. They figure out where they're gonna be. And then you find out uh, actually Bronze Tiger could have like the person who's like the leader of the cult now. He actually Bronze Tiger could actually kill him. He was a little boy because he was said to be like the prophet, the chosen one, or whatever. But Bronze Tiger, he's a kid. Like I'm not gonna do that. So they figure out where they are. It's the island. They fly there. The movie's also not really long. It's like an hour and 22 minutes, I believe. It's not really long at all. But that's why I think it's paced very. It's just kind of boom, 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 boom. You just get some history, get some backstory, and then they get to the island. They fight. Of course, they fight a few different times. Fight when they gets there. They fight. I forget like snake hands, whatever they call them. And then they fight. Bruce and Ben actually fight him, while Shiva and Richard actually go up ahead. They save kids that were stolen. Kids were taken there to be sacrifices for their god, the Great Naga. So the kids get saved by Shiva and Richard. Then they have to fight kind of um two of the Cobra Colts, like top lieutenants, I guess, some of the top warriors. Shiva fights the girl. I forget the girl's name. Richard has to fight a guy called the Great Dragon, who I think is blind. So he has super good hearing, but he has terrible eyesight. And at first he's given Richard, but then Richard kind of figures out what he needs to do. He starts throwing like rocks around to throw off his hearing, and he's like counters and stuff like that. It's a really dope scene where Richard hits him with like a 1 inch punch. And Richard Dragon is also Bruce Lee. Like he's not Bruce Lee, but that's who we could tell that's who's inspired by who's Richard Dragon is inspired by. It's inspired by Bruce Lee. It's easy. You could tell that a mile away. I think there's also they might have even stole some pieces from Enter the Dragon, which they might have like borrowed some pieces from Enter the Dragon. Yeah, and Shiva fights old girl. Shiva beats her up, whatever. Then they get to the top. They fight the chosen one. I forget his name. Snake guy. Let's call him Cobra Man. They fight Cobra Man. They say his name, but I forget. It's like Jeffrey something, but I don't know the code name or whatever. So they get to the top. They get ready to fight him. And he finds out, he's the chosen one. Blah blah blah. Like you're like, come on, man. Like you don't have to do this. So he stabs himself with the soul with the sword. The sword takes his soul. There's a part that I skip where actually if I go back a little bit, they actually do before they do like their last mission, they flash back once again to when they were back at the monastery training. It was at night, they're all laughing like what's behind like O Sensei, Mr. Teacher, he has like this door that's at the far end of the monastery that's not connected to anything, but you're gonna talk to them about it and things like that. So it's one that they're all like laughing, like, oh, like, what's behind that door? Maybe it's riches, maybe it's power, maybe it's the spa, like, just whatever. And then they hear like this noise of someone screaming. So Shiva, Richard, Ben, and Bruce they go there, find one of the other students, Rip Jagger. What's his name? Rip Jagger? Yeah, Rip Jagger kills what was her name? Jade. Jade, there's 6 students there. Rip Jagger kills Jade with he steals the blade because Shiva gets the blade. Like she's bestowed with the blade at training. O Sensei gives it to Shiva. You fast forward, Rip Jagger steals the blade, stabs Jade in the by the little in the door. So because the store is a key to open the gate. Opens the gate. He opens up the monster. Supposed to let this monster out. These 3 big ass snake demons come out. Rip Jagger gets killed, of course. If you notice on his arm, he has the Cobra Code tattoo, so he was always a Cobra Code member who infiltrated the monastery to get the sword and open the gate. Uh, Richard, Bruce, Ben, and Shiva beat the 3, or is it 4? No, the 3 like big ass snake lizard things. But in order to close the gate needs a sacrifice. Oh, since they sacrificed himself to the in order to close it, so the Great Naga doesn't come out. So then we flash forward to present day, and then they go through their mission, whatever. And now, the chosen one, Snake Master Cobra guy, he stabs himself with the sword to open up the gate. The gate opens up. It's O Sensei. O Sensei has been possessed by a Great Naga. So now the students have to fight their master, who's been possessed with this, evil demon, this demon guy, whatever. They fight him, whatever. Then you find out, oh, Richard Dragon, actually, you're meant to be my vessel because he needs like a host, like the biggest movie trope ever. The demon needs a strong host. He's like Richard Dragon. You're supposed to be you're supposed to be my avatar, my body. I can give you so much power. We can do this, we can do that. And Richard's like, no, my destiny is to beat you. With some help from like Batman. Batman taught Richard the sword. Richard ends up stabbing old Sensei. You know, well, Great Naga who's possessing old Sensei stabs him. The the demon goes into the blade. And old Sensei dies. He becomes conscious, becomes him again. Tells everybody, tells all the students that he's proud of him. Tells Bruce, your parents would be so proud of you for what you've done. And just kind of puts it all together. It's very, very touching moment. And then he passes away, but the gate's still open. So okay, the gate needs a sacrifice. So Shiva's like, I've done some dirt. I'm supposed to have been the protector of the blade. He gave it to me. It's my job to be the sacrifice. Richard's like, no, it should be me. Ben's like, no, I guess I need to atone for it. And then the pan cuts, and Bruce is already in the gate with the sword. Like, all right, let's do this. Then Richard, Ben, and Shiva run through the gate too. The gate closes, and he's like, "What are you doing?" Batman's like, "What are you guys doing here?" Hey, we do this together. We are the dragon. We got faces together. And the movie ends. Very straightforward. I really liked it. I think if you again, it's very self-contained. It's not connected to anything. It's not. I even looked at some of the reviews. Some people didn't like it. Just there's not enough Batman. It says Batman, but there's not enough Batman things. And Batman, I mean, it's very similar to what happened with Batman Ninja, where Batman Ninja used the Batman name and Batman characters, but it doesn't do, excuse me, any of like the Batman things. But I feel like Batman Soul of the Dragon is a much better action movie. Where it's an action movie, kind of goofy. It's in the 70s. It's kind of the language and the music and just how it's paced. It's very good for what it is. Especially as you just want an animated action movie, I say go for it. It's really good. I really enjoyed it. It's fun. Watch it straight through. The story is not super complex. It's pretty straightforward. You probably know what's gonna happen before it happens. You can enjoy it while it's happening. I love the kind of I think all the actors, the voice actors did really well. Like Kelly Hughes is plays Shiva. Michael Jai White plays Ben Turner, which is really cool. Because Michael Jai White plays Bronze Tiger for the Arrowverse version of Bronze Tiger. He actually plays the live action version, which is really cool. So again, I think he also plays some other DC. If Bronze Tiger pops up in some other WB animation stuff, Jai White voices the character there as well. So I enjoyed it. Like out of 10, I gave it an 8 out of 10. Like I think it's a really solid. Like it's a good action animated movie. Like it's action. Like it's action. It's not. You don't get too bogged down. The characters are very well done. You get to see some of their stories. The backs kind of who they are a little bit. Like yeah, you don't get like all the Batman stuff, like him cowling and skulking and doing all the detective work. Like you don't really get to see Batman in the way that we're normally seeing him. I think Batman kind of being a side character, let these other characters kind of shine and telling little bits of their story is kind of cool. Like I think I like this. It's very endearing. I was very curious about it, but in terms of action, so good. Like it's not the best WB animation movie by far, but I think it's a very good action movie, especially to start off, a brand new year. It sets a really good tone. Some people might not like it. Like, there's not enough Batman. But if you want an action movie, like an action anime movie, you just want action, not a lot of story, or a story you could really pick up with some good scenes. There's some decent violence. Like it does a really good job of telling a very contained story. Is it a trope of a bunch of other movies? Of course it is, but it's not bad. But I definitely give the movie like an 8 out of 10. It's pretty solid. Definitely check it out. It's on. I think you can buy it right now on digital. I think it comes out on Blu-ray like in a few days, or you can find it somewhere and watch it if you have those capabilities. You know, it is what it is. But thank you so much for checking out this brand new episode of the Aurora Podcast. I greatly appreciate it. Share the podcast. Tell me what you think of it. Tell me if you're gonna watch Batman Soul of the Dragon. I'm I definitely recommend it. I think it's pretty solid for a comic book animation movie. It's not a ton of Batman, but it's really I think it's an action movie. If you want a good action movie, it's there. Like it's a very solid action movie just to kick off 2021. And yeah, I definitely appreciate it. And of course, I'm Taryn Williams. You can find Aura Podcast on Anchor.com, Google Podcasts, Spotify, uh, Apple Podcasts, or you can just go to www.slicingDicingGaming.com, and I have links for everything there for the podcast, of course, the YouTube channel, Slicing Dicing Gaming Entertainment, and my Twitch channel, twitch.tv/Slicing Dicing Gaming ENT. Always remember Slicing Dicing Gaming. It's not just a motto, it's a lifestyle. Once again, thank you so much for checking out this brand new episode of the podcast. Later.